Welcome to Liberty Legion, where sensibility rises above radicalism and liberty stands above all. Join us as we bring common sense back into the conversation for freedom and for the future. Now here's your host, Erin.
Welcome to the first episode of Liberty Legion. I'm Erin Brantley, and this is a place where common sense, liberty-focused politics, and real conversations meet. This isn't about shouting matches or partisan sound bites. It's about taking a step back and asking what's best for freedom, for families, and for the future of our country. And let's be honest, in today's America, those aren't abstract questions. These are the questions that decide how we raise our kids, whether our businesses survive, and what kind of nation we are passing down. And how often do you think our leaders actually stop and consider these questions rather than focusing on what's best for their political career? Each week, we'll explore the issues shaping our nation and our states, but through a lens of liberty, not overreach. We'll highlight how policy impacts everyday life, we'll break down bills in plain English, and we'll give you the tools to get plugged in, from understanding ballot measures to knowing how to reach your representatives. But more than that, this show is about building a community, a movement of people who want to preserve liberty, restore common sense, and step up to join the fight in their own way. Before I go any further, I want to pause to honor someone whose legacy has influenced this movement. Charlie Kirk. His voice was bold, his ideas challenged the status quo, and whether you agreed with him or not, he never shied away from the hard conversations. His example reminds us that the defense of liberty isn't easy, and that free speech, even controversial speech, is the lifeblood of a healthy republic. I've listened to Charlie in debates and interviews, and even had the pleasure of seeing him on stage at this year's Student Action Summit. Like him or not, he was strong in his convictions, courageous in his faith, and loved this country. His influence is undeniable and will not be forgotten. Here at Liberty Legion, I want to carry that torch forward. A space where we don't silence ideas, we're going to engage them. Where disagreement doesn't mean division, and where standing up for what you believe in is not only welcomed, but necessary. Typically, when people hear the word liberty, they immediately think politics. But for me, it started as a mom just trying to make sense of the world for my daughters. Liberty isn't an idea in a textbook. It's a difference between whether I can decide what's best for my kids or whether some bureaucrat gets to decide for me. I had a vision before Charlie's passing of creating a space for liberty-focused politics, common sense solutions, and civil discourse. But his death has only emboldened my mission. It reminded me how fragile voices for liberty can be, and how important it is to carry forward the legacy of speaking truth, empowering citizens to join the fight, and defending free expression in the public square. I'm not a career politician or a media mogul. I'm a mom, a business owner, and someone who got tired of watching politics drift further and further away from the values of liberty, common sense, and everyday practicality. I didn't grow up imagining I'd launch a podcast, but I saw the disconnect, I saw the frustration, and I decided to step forward instead of sitting on the sidelines. My daughter was born just before COVID struck in late 2019, and seemingly overnight, my view of the world changed. I was scared, confused, and lost. My husband and I, we went through a 4-week lockdown trying to balance work meetings and caring for our infant and toddler. Trying to enjoy the innocence of that time, and special moments of this stage were absolutely infiltrated by fear of an invisible virus of unknown origin and unpredictable victims. I was even wiping down my mail and groceries to ensure we didn't put our sweet girls at risk. Our house became the center of our lives until we felt the outside world was safe for us again. And as the months went on and we started to go back out in public, the data just wasn't showing what our experts were saying. Based on the data, it seemed children weren't heavily affected by this virus. And yet I was still being told I should not gather with loved ones. I need to stand 6 feet back in the grocery line. I should not go to eat. Strip clubs were being opened before churches were allowed to. Nothing made sense during this time to me. And I know many of you can vividly remember those days and how they impacted you. The sense that something just wasn't adding up. We were told to trust the science and trust the experts. But also you'd be shunned and censored if you even dared to ask questions. Then the vaccine came. And what a time that was. The government and public officials were pushing this on everyone, while at the same time denying things like natural immunity. And this is when I knew I could never view our government through the same lens. I always didn't trust him, but now there was no going back. And it was time to step up. Because to me, liberty is not theoretical, it's personal. It's about whether you can hold a loved one's hand as they pass away, gather in your church, or keep your business alive. So I took to TikTok. I started making videos calling out policies and stances from our government I didn't agree with. Then Biden took office and I made a video telling people we should mobilize in peaceful protest. This video went viral and a grassroots movement, which was Freedom 515, was born. And I didn't set out to start a movement. I was just a mom with a phone venting into TikTok with zero activism or grassroots experience. But when that video went viral, I realized people weren't just listening, they were waiting for someone to say what they were feeling. Amazing volunteers and myself organized over 40 protests nationwide on May 15th, 2021. People from all walks of life joined us that day. And what we all had in common is we were Americans who valued liberty. It was made clear to me that many were hungry for a way to be heard, to get involved, and to fight for this country, because liberty isn't defended by institutions. It's defended by ordinary people who decide enough is enough. We also went on to ignite a nationwide school walkout in September that year. Moms for Liberty stepped up and participated in it as well. Media Matters eventually put out a hit piece on me and my grassroots activism that was sparked just through a video on TikTok. And I genuinely saw that more as a glowing letter of recommendation than anything else. The link is in the show notes if you'd like to check out that article. But this effort took a lot out of me, and I was proud of what one voice can ignite. I took a few years off just to raise my young girls and continue running my business. About a year ago, I decided to start hosting political live debates and discussions on TikTok. People loved the respectful, productive conversations we were having, and I found my stride. I've gotten involved in my state politics now, and then a longtime viewer and someone I would consider a friend helped push me to launch this podcast. So here we are. I'd love to get back in the arena, encourage people to join me, and get to work improving this country for generations to come. Encouraging people to get involved, resolve feelings of helplessness, and that's what Liberty Legion is about. This podcast is the next chapter because movements can start online, but they grow when we connect, we share ideas, we sharpen each other, and put our convictions into action. So if you're listening today and you resonate with this and what I've said, first, thank you for being here, genuinely. Second, you're not just an audience, you are now part of this legion. We're going to bring you conversations with people across the political spectrum because the truth is, liberty doesn't belong to one party. We'll elevate voices of people who are active in their communities and helping to fight for freedom. We'll show you the way to get plugged in, whether it's through local school boards, ballot measures, or community initiatives. And we'll emphasize doing it lawfully, peacefully, and with respect for the process. Because lasting change only comes when it's grounded in principle. This podcast will be a place where you'll hear ideas debated, not just dismissed, where civil discourse is valued over emotional pleading, and where you'll leave not just with opinions, but with tools to act. So as you listen, I encourage you to not just be an observer, but a participant. Change takes each of us doing more than just posting our frustrations online. It's a start, but now it's time to create a culture of action and change. Share these conversations, reach out to your elected officials, get involved locally. Liberty is preserved only when everyday people, moms, dads, students, employees, business owners step forward. This podcast is one tool to help you do just that. And it goes beyond the podcast. We're going to create a community here and continue the important legacy of protecting freedom. And if not us, then who? And if not now, then when? I love this country. I love liberty, and I'm here for the long haul. So let's honor Charlie's legacy and get to work. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what I had to say and if you want to share it, I would greatly appreciate it. Send it out to people who might benefit from this message, and we'll catch you on the next episode.